Wesley Wyatt, we're back for number 2 of the day, buddy.
Number two, and we got somebody back from the industry once again.
How does the game better than that? I don't think it can.
No, it doesn't.
No, we got on another good friend of mine from the industry, Shannon Large, coming up. Shannon's been around for a while, but he's the Midwest regional sales manager for Sedan Machinery, which is one of the major machinery companies in the industry. So they make a lot of the equipment that people use to bend and roll and wrinkle tin and do all the great stuff. And first class people. And Shannon's a first class dude, man, and I just love what he does. So I was excited to have him on today.
And if I were him, I would have a very hard time not telling people that I was large and in charge.
I'll bet he says that sometimes.
If he doesn't, he should.
I'll tell you what, he does not. He's going to get charged for the grapes and the crackers and the cheese in the green room if he doesn't work that into the conversation today. But it can't be obvious, Shannon. It has to be worked in. You can't just come on the first thing. Hey, Randy, I'm large and in charge. So that don't count. Now you're going to pay double. So. Anyways, what do you think? Let's see if we got let's go test him in a while.
All right, let's see if he can work it in.
And by the way, I haven't told you this, but I really dig the white face.
Okay.
The white beard. Yeah. I think you should. I mean, not that I have any say, because that's probably more your wife, but still, I like it.
The problem is I put a lot of people out of business at the Just for Men warehouse because.
Well, that's true. That was they probably laid off 12 people, but
they did. Yeah, the owner had to go down to a smaller boat, and
Yeah, I understand, but you took people out of the barber business a long time ago, so
that's right.
All right.
Well, let's go to
let's go get him. He's waiting for us. He's
all
tired.
right.
All right. Boom, there he is.
Mr. Randy.
Nah, come on, man. What you doing, big fella?
Hey, not much, man. How are you today?
Hey, big fella works with large. I like that too. Look at that.
Yep. Large.
So, but welcome to Bill and Wins Live, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. I've been looking forward to having you on to chat for a while. So, welcome.
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We I think we planned in December. I think it was on my birthday is what we were originally planning to do. And, glad to hear that Wes is, it was his health, right? That he had some problems with, and man, he looks healthier than ever, and really, really great to see him alive again. So I think
it is.
I think in the intro, I don't know, but I think I make up for his lack of hair, but he probably has me beat on the beard side.
Yes. You have more on your head and he has more on his face. So at the end of the day, if you put the two together and clone you, okay, we don't want to go there. That's scary to even think about. I'm going to have nightmares tonight on that one. But anyway, yes, thank you for asking. Yes, I know we were in touch quite a bit. Wes told his full story, or not the full story. That'd take about 6 days. But on his first podcast back in the chair with me. So we're blessed every day to have my brother back, man. So appreciate you saying something. So I know he does too. So.
And I think the last time I saw you was what? Where were we at? Because I didn't make it to NFBA.
Yeah, it must have been. Where was we at? Well, there's so many shows they run together, right? I forget. I told somebody last week I was in Oklahoma City last week, and they said, that was 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah, that's right. I was in Nashville last week.
Hey, I'm the same way. I'm headed to Memphis next week. So, you mentioned the Midwest regional sales manager. I cover Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and then Dominic, a colleague of mine, we split Tennessee. So he has Chattanooga East, and I'm just west of that, all the way to Memphis. So.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Nice. Well, good. Well, give us the story of who Shannon is first, and how you made your way to the world of sedan, and then we'll kind of talk industry and talk business for a little bit.
Let's do it. Yeah. So it was in nursing school actually for almost 5 years, and I didn't. Things fell through the crack. I got in a wreck in 2009 and kind of shifted my life. And I, said I just need a religion class. to get a piece of paper. And I said, I'm so done with school. So I came up to Fort Wayne where my mom was at, and there was a clipping in the newspaper for sales for home exterior. I was like, huh, okay, let's go for the interview and see what happens. And, we went in the interview and took a sales test, and I took a personality test. Just like yourself, I can go in a room and talk to whomever and make friends, but I didn't know the vocabulary and everything for professional sales. So he's like, I tell you what, I can't hire you as a sales rep, but I need a canvasser. Me at 20, I think it was 21 at the time, had no idea what a canvasser was. And I said, yep, sign me up. So he said, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. This was the first week of 2014, and Fort Wayne got dumped with 24 inches of snow. So me being a Kentucky boy, just like in your book too, it's just like, my dad and my grandpa, it's just, when they tell you to do something and you hold your word, you better go do it. So, we're on a state of emergency, and I show up to work and doors locked. I knock on the door, and Mr. Bill Kesterkey, owner of Key Exteriors, he said, Shannon, what the heck are you doing here? And I said, well, where I come from, you told me to be here. I didn't get a call from you. I'm here. Yeah. So long story short, I was a canvasser, worked my way up being a canvasser, knocking on doors for residential home sales, roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and doors, and did that for a number of years. Went from canvasser, canvas manager, sales, helped train the guys to know how to be really, really good at in-home, high persuasive closing in the home. And, we did a 10-step closing process, and we really have to hit those steps, especially if you're someone new. So did that, and I moved from Fort Wayne to Charlotte to Charleston, South Carolina, to Tampa, to Orlando, Gulf Shores, Alabama, came back up to Indiana. So I have kind of an array of home exterior knowledge of, storm chasing, retail sales, this and that. And I was on the way of a roof lead. And I think that know this guy, Ryan King.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I'm just driving down, and I happen to look down. I have a message on LinkedIn, and it's Ryan reaching out. And I never checked it and never responded. And I was like, I don't know. This sounds like a cool website. Good
you didn't know him yet at that point?
Not at all. I didn't even know.
No idea. Okay.
I wasn't job searching, nothing. My profile on my LinkedIn wasn't, searching for a job. And long story short, I had a conversation with him. Mr. Larry gave me a call. I went down to Atlanta, and he goes, Shannon, I like what you have told me, and I really, really like your work history. And, you bounced around from job to job of these roofing companies, and it really looks like you're looking for family. I looked him dead in the eye and said, you know what, Larry, you're right. And almost 3 years, June 12th, I think is my anniversary. We'll hit 3 years at Sedan. So that's a little recap of, home exteriors to now residential, architectural, pole barn, historical, kind of the whole envelope now of metal focused industry. And, that's how I met you. I think we first met at an NFBA, and,
I think so.
said, glad to have you here. And that's a little bit backstory about me.
I love it. You know what? I've still been thinking ever since you first started talking is that you literally didn't know what a canvasser was, but you took the job. So I got to ask this. It had nothing to do with anything here, but you went home that night and did you sit there at yourself and look in the mirror and go, okay, I got a job as a canvasser. But what is this? There had to be a moment of what did I just do, right?
Well, I tell you, so, I was in nursing school, and nursing school is very, very, very hard. I mean,
Hmm.
especially if you don't know the testing questions. Nursing is all about assessment. So there will be a question in there, and there will be one key word that will tell you what the most right answer is, because all the answers are right.
Okay.
But within the question, it'll say initially or last. And within that assessment, that's what the answer. I was a server actually at Cheddar's Scratch Chicken or Kitchen, um, being a server, and worked at Outback for a little bit too. But I told myself as an adult I wasn't going back to the food industry, and I really wanted a career focus on I need to grow up and I need to get a good job. So yeah, I had I had no idea what a canvasser
That's
was.
funny.
I
That's
show
funny.
up, and then we got all this snow, and I think that every time you see me, I probably have cowboy boots on, but I'm hitting the streets and knocking on doors, and it was a blast. I tell you, it was freedom. All that was on my mind was I had the people skills, and once I learned how to talk to those homeowners and set that appointment and make it really, really important to schedule that next step. And that's what it was all about. If I could invite them in for that company, to help them, and that's what you do. That's what I do in today's world. It's just growing, and it's kind of how I got to where I was at. And yeah, canvasser, man, it's
That's a tough one. I mean, it takes a certain mindset and breed and stick to itiveness to because you probably got a couple no's now and then, and a couple of get out of my doorway. Why are you here? Uh, and I'm being nice, right? I mean that's you learn to have thick skin doing that job, right?
what was my favorite.
What's that?
Didn't you see the no soliciting sign at the front of the neighborhood?
Oh,
It's like,
no,
yeah, I did. I'm here to help you.
I'm here to help you. I have to eat,
Yeah,
and I have selective vision.
it's 5 o'clock. What do you got cooking in there? It smells kind of
Yeah,
good.
well, if we can have dinner and I'll just chat with you a little bit. What's going on? I
Oh,
love it, man. That's
you
good
don't know how
stuff.
many times I got invited for dinner, and next thing you know, we're signing up 20 windows and full replacement, and had a really good time doing it.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So now you're in a world of totally different, completely uh, selling and helping other guys sell and buy and profit in the metal roofing world. So I'm sure there's some similarities with what you've learned, but more than that, um, how do you see making that transition? And I'm sure you and I probably talked about this because as you're telling me, this is coming back to me.
hmm
I'm not sure I or overly remembered that part of your history, but as you start telling me, I know we talked about it at one time or another. I find it really interesting. So, what any correlations that you can take before we get into what you actually do every day between selling heavy equipment, or not heavy equipment, but machinery and tens, if not hundreds plus thousands of dollars worth of one piece of equipment, right?
absolutely.
To a
Yeah.
business owner, a B2B guy,
Mhm.
it's about as far from what you did to where you are now as you could get, other than going back into nursing, I suppose, right? I mean, it's a pretty big change. So, what did you learn that helped you? Because this was not on my list of things I had in my mind I wanted to talk about, but I find that fascinating. I guess a little bit of what you learned from that totally different experience that you brought with you to the machinery world.
Oh, it's a good question. When I was going from home to home, or I either got a lead, or I'm already at one appointment, they're not home, and I go next door and I knock that door, and they answer, and or a storm went by or whatever situation that arose. talking to strangers.
Mhm.
You know, it's being presentable, being able to, if you want to talk about football, let's talk about football. One of the tricks I learned being in so many homes is, you know, search the room. You know, I have some pictures of some monumental history buildings behind me, and you know, if there's a kid on the wall, hey, you got a kid? Oh no, that's my nephew. You know, let's talk about that. So it's just things in common that you have with someone else. I would say that would be the number one commonality of it. You know, because when I first started at Sedan, Ryan King and previous to me, Jay, you know, Jay, man, he covered all the way from, he lives in Jersey and he covered all the way within my states. And it was just hard to get everywhere. So there would be companies within our CRM, but, you know, like I said, he can't get everywhere at once. So there might be, talk to Randy 3 years ago, and he was interested in a folder, and you go talk to him, or it's just, hey, there's someone in here that Larry met 10 years ago. There's a name, there's a serial number for a machine, and there's an address. Well, I show up and I introduce myself, and, you know, how can I be a resource for you? So I would say that's probably the number one. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Number one kind of commonality, like I said, of the two transitioning. And, you know, before I go into the deep and dive of truly what I do in and out discussing machines, you know, I would say just knocking on doors, because no one's a stranger to me. You know, whether I always have business cards on me, always driving down the highway, I see a gutter guy, I see a roofing guy. Probably shouldn't do it while I'm driving, but, you know, I look them up really quick. Are they in our CRM? Hey, I'll take a picture of it really quick. You know, many times that I'll call them while I'm on the road, and, hey, you guys fabricating in house? Oh, that's funny. We were just thinking about that. We just had this conversation last month. Boom, now it's a way in. And you always have to be thinking outside the box in any kind of sales industry of how can I connect with that person that I'm wanting to sell to? Because if I'm like everyone else, you know, if we're just sending out mass emails and sending out literature within the mail of the address that we have, you know, you're not really going to set yourself apart, right? But if I show up and I have a Sedan coffee mug, or buy them donuts or this or that, you know, and it like, oh, wow, this guy really thought about me. He prepared for me. Maybe I'll give him 5 minutes. You know, maybe I don't need him now, but I might need him in 2 years.
No, I think that, you know, and what I love, one of the things you said a couple minutes ago, because this is a very interesting conversation to me, anyways. It's, you switch from a truly B2C world to a very B2B world. But as I will tell anybody that'll listen, it's still always P2P, right? It's still always people to people at the end of the day. It's some person that has the buyer title, whatever their title is, and some guy or gal that's a salesperson, whatever their title is. We all have all kinds of titles, but you still, if you don't build a relationship, you don't let those people carry you, or know that you care more about. Okay, let me back up. You can't get commission breath, right? They smell that a mile away, right?
Oh, yeah.
I care about learning what you need, learning what you're about, and let's figure out if we have an opportunity to do business, and can I help you? Am I the right? And I'd love your thought on this, but I always look at it as, you know, typically the customer's interviewing you a little bit as a sales guy, right? Do I want to do business? But we're interviewing them too, because we need to know at the end of the day, is Shannon and Randy a good fit? Because
Right.
if it's not a good fit, then one of us should probably help the other one find the right fit, because it's never going to work. And that's okay, because we're never going to sell everybody. So if we're not going to be a good fit, and see, if you go into it that way, and I really love your take on this, because as I love where you come from this. If you come from it that way, we're not doing that dreaded word of selling anybody stuff.
No,
Right? We're not being order takers. We're not just there to get a check from these people.
you
We're
know
there
what
to
I call it,
literally
Randy?
see. What's that?
Making friends.
That's it. There you go.
If you can make a friend with a stranger, you know, whether they need you now, whether they need you later, and you set yourself apart of, if you really, not everyone has that 5 minutes to really get to know someone, but if you can just say one thing, or you can make a comment or send an email after meeting them, hey, I love going to Kentucky. I'm a Kentucky boy. Kentucky, go Cats. They just won. We play play tomorrow. But
Well, for you, I hope you don't take on the mighty Michigan Wolverines, buddy. I had to get that in there.
I don't know.
Had to get that in
I don't know if we'll meet.
there.
No, I love going to Kentucky, especially during basketball season or any season. But I'll send memes of, hey, go Cats today, and they're like, oh wow, he's thinking of basketball. We're not talking about machines, and we can have that conversation. Or hey, if you want to go get chicken wings or go race go-karts, that's what sets you apart from the other person, and just making it fun, because like you said, it's people to people, and that's what we're here to do. That's about having fun.
It is. Well, and you fell right into something that a great mutual friend of Wes and I's, Ben Gay III, the author of and publisher of the Closer series.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old phrase, and I've always loved it. We've heard it a million years. People, if all things being equal, people buy from who they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
But Ben always adds the fourth one, and feels safe with. And so when you can develop that know, like, trust, and feel safe with Shannon Large, again, once you can, my take, once you get out of the sales aspect, okay, let's face it, don't want anybody to confuse. We're sales guys. At the end of the day, we need to sell some stuff, right? But it's got to be a good sale, that one that makes sense, and one where we get referrals and references and repeat business. And the only way we do that is stop selling, start caring, start listening, develop a relationship, and help them get what it is they need, not what it is we just want to sell them. And I think that's a real key, right? Is I got a lot of stuff I might want to sell you, but if that's not right for Shannon, then I'm not doing you a service. In the long term, I'm not doing myself a service if I try to force you into something that doesn't fit your needs. The machinery, I think, and I think it's a great segue into machinery. There's a lot of machines that you make.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of machines made on the market that your competitors make, but it's everybody's goal in the machinery business to get that roll form customer into the right machine for their specific use. Is that an accurate statement, or is it all about just selling them what you have?
Hey, you nailed it. I don't know if I was just 2-3 weeks ago, I went down to our headquarters in Peachtree City, Georgia, and did a virtual live demo. So we were aired on our YouTube channel.
You did very good at that, by the way. I told you that. If you don't,
I appreciate that. Yeah,
good stuff.
And we're just coming out of the winter here in the Midwest, and try to, I'm like yourself. I rather knock on a door, go meet someone in person, because I'm just a people's person. That's how I like to do it. But where was I going with this segue of? Being a consultant. We at Sedan, we're a one-stop shop. So we have slitters, shears, roll formers, long folders, double long folders, and standing seam machines. It's just such an array. And a lot of customers, when they call, they might say, hey, I need this. I know about, Joe down the road has a double folder, and it looks big, looks sexy, and has Sedan Tallman written on it. That's what I need. But
Mhm.
he's just been installing, and he doesn't even have room to put a 21-foot folder.
Right.
So you start asking those questions of really getting the fit and the need and the application. And when those three things mix together, then they're like, oh, okay, well, again, this guy is actually listening to what I need and fitting me. It's like going, getting fitted for a tuxedo for a wedding, and you get tailored up, you get your sleeves done, you get your. I'm a short guy, so I always gotta get the legs chopped off at the bottom, but they're getting ready for fitting you in the where it fits right, and that's one thing that I know that myself and the rest of us at Sedan does, and it's super important.
It is. I love that. I love that. I love that the tuxedo analogy because you can buy a suit off the rack and you look good, but you have a tailored suit or tuxedo and anybody can look good, right? I don't care what your body shape, you can look sharp if you got a tailored, tuxedo or suit, right? And it's that final little. It's the same material sometimes. It doesn't. It's not the material as much as the fit and the customization and paying attention to, I need to take a little less view of this certain area and I get they just know how to do it and make you look right. So
Yeah.
in the same way with the equipment, right? Um, but I
They,
did
they
have a
always
question.
they
Go ahead.
always they always joke with me, because what was it? Has it been 2 years now when you were doing that 75 hit or
Yeah,
75 hard,
75 hard. Yeah,
and I was pumping you up and down and
yeah.
so impressive. I mean, you still wake up at 3:30 a.m. How you do that, I don't know, but
Well, because I'm nuts. Okay, that,
yeah,
that
yeah,
that helps
you
to
are.
be just. That helps to being completely nuts. It is a benefit in the world. It's what we do.
Yeah, and shoot, I've been at it this last year, and I'm 20 pounds down, and just
Nice.
running, eating a healthy diet, and I know that's the last what we talked about last time I saw you. But they joke with me because they're like, "What size do you wear?" And I'm like, "A schmedium."
I like it.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you probably wear a large, and you know what they used to say to me?
Yeah.
Well, my last name's Large and in charge.
Oh, okay. I want to see if you'd repeat it. Yeah, it may be a medium, but I wear a large. I
Hey,
like it.
schmedium, baby.
Yeah, I love it. That's good stuff. Okay, you can now have the rest of the grapes when we're done.
All
There's no
righty.
extra charge.
All
So
right.
let's move real quick into the industry a little bit. 'Cause I did a couple of things from your seat in the
Yeah.
world of what you do, in the equipment world and in the industry. What's the market feel like to you right now? Just in general. I mean, are we? It's winter in most of the north, and it's been winter, and it has been what it's been. First time for years that we've had a real winter in a lot of areas. But
That's true.
what's Shannon's feel for where we're headed moving forward?
The pole barn, the metal building guys, gosh, they haven't slowed down since I've started, which is amazing for them. Within this last year, like you said, the winter is just now finishing up. Super wet outside. We did have a lot of snow. Um, I mean, areas that haven't been hitting snow ever or
Hmm.
in years and years and years. I mean, gosh, Nashville was got inches of snow. They're not equipped with the DOT to even remove it, so they were shut down. All the ice,
Right.
all the snow dams on the flat roofs, this and that, really, really shut them down. But the pole barn industry is thriving, and the commercial guys, residential, kind of plateaued and or a little bit struggling. They have jobs and they're staying busy, but just as a whole of, especially in the Midwest for me, it has been a slower start to the year. January was pretty good for me, but that's where I come in. I'm always hitting the streets and trying to knock on the doors and trying to strum up some business. But I can say for some other territories as well that
Hmm.
Canada's kicking butt this year.
Interesting.
And the West Coast, and I've heard down in Florida, they're in kind of a slump.
Yep.
Haven't had much catastrophes down there,
Right.
and unfortunately,
Yeah.
I hate to. I mean, are you in Florida right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's bad for the homes, but we're in the roofing business. That's what keeps us busy.
Well, exactly. And it last year, for example, living here, other than most of the hurricane season, I'm back in Michigan, the heart of the hurricane season,
How are you?
but still, our house is here. Um, and the last year is it was so unique because really we had no real direct hit of any kind of a hurricane of any, a few little tropical storms brushed nearby, but it
That's
was it
right.
was a pretty clear year. Good for, like you said, good for vacationing, good for everything other than the roofing industry a little bit, right?
Right.
But you know that's cyclical, and based on that good year last year, that is you know you know historically it's probably going to be a tough one this year.
Yeah, and I don't
I'm
know
going
if
to
you
guess.
saw, yesterday, from Chicago to Northwestern. I mean, it scraped all the way top of Indiana up to Detroit. There was the Three Rivers, Michigan. It dang near flattened the Menards, and just so many houses just flattened. So it's really sad to see. But again,
Yeah,
it keeps us busy. So
it does. It does. So things are looking well. What do you see in the roll forming world specifically? Because I know a few years ago, it felt like, and it wasn't accurate, but it felt like sometimes I was getting a call from a new guy getting ready to start into the roll forming world literally every day. It almost seemed like, right?
yeah,
Do you see that still, or is that backed off a little? Because there's still a lot of upstarts, right? Because there's still a lot of room for people. But where do you see that right now?
I would say there's two different sectors to that, and let me explain it. And this is always where I remind the owners or whomever I'm talking to, but your ag and your PBR, it's such a common application,
Hmm.
and it's been applied years and years and years. And for your farm buildings, your ag, your typical pole barn, it's a great application. But you're seeing these pop-up shops, or you're seeing people like Ramco, Graber Post, Premier, they're adding satellite or new locations. And Cornerstone, they're buying out the smaller guys. And so it's harder for the mom and pop shops to compete with that. And so it's a common product. And so what we're seeing more and more in today's world, that again sets you apart with the roll former. And roll formers is great, don't get me wrong, but what's it great at? It's great at one thing, and it puts miles and miles and miles out at that one thing only. And so we're seeing more of architectural wall panels.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've seen it on our double folders and some of our competitors as well. But the good thing about that machine, the Tallman TD 150, typically it's the 6.4 meter, the 21 foot, but it can produce your normal panels, and then customer like Metal Panel System out of Cincinnati, they have a sister company, Titan Tech, and I love seeing the aftermath of what they produce, because you look at it and it's like, we got board and batten going up, we got some diagonals going.
Yep.
It doesn't cost any more money to produce that panel. It doesn't take any more material to produce that panel. But what that does is it gives that machine or that offering of that panel a variety.
Right.
And so, within, going back to what you said earlier of getting you within the right fit, is, hey, if we're doing pole barn and we're pushing out exposed fasten ag panel all day, every day, cool. That's a great fit. We don't want to even talk about a double folder, but
Right.
you got to get your right fit, and that's what we're here for.
Love it. I love it.
Hey, friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, ibuyfromrandy.com. And I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week, many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at ibuyfromrandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show.
So let's spend the last few minutes together talking about Sedan itself and what you guys do, what you offer, what people would expect if they do business with Shannon or anybody on your team. What's the Sedan experience look like?
So we are a one-stop shop. As I mentioned earlier, we are the manufacturer and we're the supplier. So, our 10-foot folder and shears, they're produced or manufactured in Sweden. The Tallman brand, which we acquired in 2022, that's your single long folders or your double long folders, which they can go from anywhere from 10 to 40 foot. Those are manufactured in Switzerland. And just as of recently, because we've been doing so well, is that in recent times we have brought in manufacturing of those long folders over to the Sweden branch as well. So it gives us some flexibility. And then our CTL lines, slit to width, cut to length, our Forstner line was acquired in 2019. That's in Austria. And again, we make it. We ship it over here to CMA and Peachtree City, and then they're offered to our clientele within the States. We just recently released our standing seam machine. Has a total of 12 panels, your common inch screw down to your board and batten to your 2-inch mechanical, anywhere in between. And it's really, really cool to, be a part of that. And when you're going, as a homeowner, for example, going back to key exteriors and home exteriors, is if I need windows, and I need windows from one place, I need a roof from another place, I need siding from another place, and something goes wrong, well, that's 5 different phone calls that I got to make. Same thing with machines. And that's really, really good too. Aspect of the aftermarket side is we have plus or minus 7 techs on the phone support all the time. It's free for our customers. Good peace of mind there too, right?
Yes.
That they can. I always tell people, and I always laugh about this, but we have done such a great job. We brought Tony in on our marketing team, and he's done a phenomenal job of marketing videos, photos, updated photos within our quotes of our product. But the how it all comes together of the aftermarket being able to service from the array of machines that we are able to offer under one envelope, that we are the manufacturer and we're the supplier. And then we have an array of people like myself throughout the country and Canada, South America. We have people over in Europe team as well. And, going back to where we first started this conversation of people to people, it's not just an email, a mass email. Hey, I hope you're looking for a machine or something like that. Yep, we got it in stock. And, you don't have that personal touch, and that's what people still like, especially the, within the metal industry, or I just say manufacturers in general. We're coming to a time now that people are the age of, yourself, not calling you old, but you're getting up there, Randy.
Whoa, man.
And you know what? What are those shops going to do when Randy says, appreciate you guys, you know, it's time for me to go down to Florida and take some time for myself.
Yeah.
You know, and the intuitive of the machines itself, of being so simple to operate. It's really important for the market too, that they understand and can hire someone off the streets that they fully understand of how to help that company. And it doesn't take a full year to fully understand.
Right. So yeah, and that's a great point. I hadn't thought about it, Shannon, but with all the technology, AI, everything that's going on, the ability to shorten that learning curve, because in the old days, you had the old dude that used to bend trim out back with the tape measure and all that, and he drew it up and he had a little cardboard design of what it is. It was more of an art and a science at the time, right? If he
Yeah.
left or was all sick or God forbid got hurt or something happened to him, there's nobody else who could step in and make that trim. But like you just saying, I think, and it makes sense, is if that stuff's programmed, almost anybody with the ability to figure out how to flip the right switch and turn this thing on
Yeah.
can semi figure out. You punch in, I want item number 1743-A. It's just going to spit those things out. How many do you want, right? And it's
And
a
the cool
huge,
thing about,
huge advantage.
yeah, and the cool thing about it, it's just like your phone. And I say this all the time. You give a phone to a 2-year-old, they'll get on the games that you don't even know that it was on your phone, and you're like, what the heck?
Exactly.
It's the same thing with the machines, that you can save the library and default back to that same profile, and you got to make minor changes, on a leg or a hem or whatever. You can make that minor adjustment without redrawing that whole profile. Excuse me. And yeah, it's just smarter, faster, stronger is what we say at Sedan. And whole envelope again of that's what we truly strive to be. And I tell you what, though, I've going on 3 years at Sedan. I don't go a day without learning something new.
Well, then that's a testament to the growing of the industry. It's a testament to Sedan staying leading edge.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to your willingness to understand that you don't know everything, because you never will.
Never
Not in today's ever, but especially in today's world with the technology and the advancements. It's like I bought a new TV for outside on the Lanai a few weeks ago, and he says, "Do you want?" We got the $3,500 one that's made for outdoors and all that. And I go, dude, I watch Michigan football and basketball. That's all I care about. I don't need to spend. I'm not spending $3,500 on a TV in the house, let alone outside, that's
Right.
exposed to the humidity and stuff. And I said, but beyond that, technology changes so fast that if this
In a
thing
month, it's
lasts
going to be
3 years, yeah. So if it lasts 3 years and it goes down, I'll buy another one for $500, and it'll be twice the TV that I just bought today, right?
And probably you can get the 105-inch versus the 75 that's on sale now.
Exactly. Yeah. And now it'll actually be so smart by then that it'll just know, I think Randy wants to watch Michigan basketball because I know they start in 5 minutes, and he just came outside, so it turns it on and hands me a Dr. Pepper and some cheese and crackers, and life is good, right? I mean,
23 flavors, baby.
that's it, bud. You got it. You know it, man. But well, and the last thing, and I do want to let you go, that you hit on, and I loved, is the fact that, and I don't want this to get missed about Sedan, is you said you're the supplier, you're the manufacturer, the supplier, and the support in the field and the support in the office, because that's so huge to have that. Because just when you pick an auto dealership, you ought to be picking it. That car could be got anywhere or something pretty close. That Chevy whatever is the same at this dealer, this dealer, this dealer. What you're buying is the ability of the salesperson to help you get into the right car at the right price for what it is I want. And secondarily, the service department. I mean, do you have the people to help me, to take care of me? And that's so important in this industry, is you're spending upwards millions of dollars of total equipment to be in the metal rolling business. And if you're not rolling and bending metal, y'all just spending a lot of money and you ain't making nothing, right?
That's
And
right.
so you can't be down. And so to be able to call in somebody and literally, because a lot of times I'm going to assume you can walk them through a troubleshooting online. You can walk them through
That's
how to get
exactly
back
right.
going in minutes or an hour. Not, well, we got to send somebody from 3,000 miles away and they can't get out till next week Thursday, but we'll be, all of a sudden you're down for a week and a half, going nuts. And I'm sure sometimes in any equipment, there's just somebody got to come in and look because I don't know
Of
what's
course.
going on, right? That
Yeah.
happens.
Right.
But if you could eliminate that, because most of the time it's probably hitches, glitches that can be fixed reasonably quick if you got those 7 people that somebody can call, right? So I think that's huge. So compliments to what you guys do, and it's been a pleasure knowing all of you guys. I've known, like you said, Ryan for years. I'm glad to see he's back. He's been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Um, he might get invited back because he didn't screw up too badly, so we might invite him back. You
And
you, you
if it
we
wasn't
got
for
about
me, I wouldn't be here.
yeah, there you go. Well, we
Yeah.
got about a minute to go, so if you don't screw up in the last minute, we might invite you back. So don't no pressure or anything. But
It's
I've
been
met
fun
I
time.
know Larry for years, and is it Petter or Peter? Because I know there's two T's.
I guess I know him as Petter. I guess it depends on what part of the country you're in, but
Okay, I've always called him Petter only because the two T's just seemed right. But I met him the first time. I think, did you introduce me to him or Ryan at a show someplace? Might have been Ryan.
it probably would have been Ryan.
So
And I don't
he's
know if you know this or not, but Petter retired, and now
oh, he did.
yeah, and so now Chandler is CEO of Sedan. So
Well,
congratulations.
Chandler is no kidding. I met Chandler too.
Absolutely.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I'll be darned. Yeah, I was interesting with Petter. What a great man. I met him on LinkedIn, right? Like we all do a lot of that, right? And then he was going to be, and we made sure we was going to meet up at I don't know, it was a MetalCon or an NFBA. IRE, who knows where it was, and Ryan made sure that we met, and I mean, what an incredible guy, right? I mean, love the guy, just amazing individual. So he was and when he retired, he was the president, CEO,
CEO.
CEO. Yeah,
Yep.
great man, man. I love it. So, well, if you ever talk to him, tell him I said hi. I would
I
love
will
you to
do
do
that.
that.
Yeah.
Well, any final words? And we have this silly thing that I don't think it's a silly thing. I like it, but Wes likes to remind me if I forget to do the should ask questions. Is there something today that you just wish Randy would have asked in this 45 minutes together that he didn't? Or is there something when you're out and about that you just wish people would ask you when they know that you sell equipment and you're involved in helping the industry? What's something just people ought to ask that they just don't ask? It could be about equipment. It could be about the industry. It could be about sales. What is it that somebody ought to ask more of and they just don't?
That's a good question. And I always tell myself that, and you know this as well, is that what Sedan does and our competitors as well, it's such a small niche.
Mm-hmm.
And what we offer. And I always, whether I have an appointment and or not, or if I'm just knocking on a door, guy down at Mac Metals in Kentucky, he gave me a little tip and he said, just if you don't have an appointment, maybe at the front desk, just say, hey, you got five minutes or 10 minutes for someone.
Right.
And it's such a tip, because what you can learn on 5 or 10 minutes about someone, or on my end and or the opposite end of what someone can offer, whether that be now or down the road, I think that's something really, really important to keep in mind of, just really hearing someone out of what they have to offer, because you never know.
Well, exactly. You don't, and I think that's just that's key. That's key, and I want to circle back as we end. I loved your at the very start. Ask the question. Be a people person.
Mm-hmm.
Develop a friendship. Develop a relationship. Some want more than others, and some people don't want to be your buddy, and you can't force that on them. But you can be that trusted advisor, right? You can.
Right.
You can be the person that that they trust you're going to make the right decision for them, help them, guide them to the right decision. Because it really is more about that's so much more to that than just selling equipment. Or in my world, I sell widgets, I sell stuff. I sell great stuff, and I can tell you, if you really want to sit down, I can do as good a dog and pony show as anybody in the world about my stuff.
Right.
But it's still at the end of the day stuff, right?
Mhm.
And other people make stuff that's pretty good too, right? I'm not like the only one that makes good stuff. There's a
Right.
lot of competitors, hats off to them. It's a great industry, and people make just incredibly good stuff. So there's more to it than just the stuff. That's an important part. I love the word stuff for some reason, but if you got bad stuff, you can't put, what's that old thing that was on, you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig, right? I mean,
Right.
you can't take bad stuff and survive peddling it as good stuff for too long. But assuming we got that good widget, it's way more than that, and I think if we as salespeople, as pros in this industry, continue to do that, and with all the technology and all the stuff that's coming out that we've talked about today, you better be better at that, because you're going to get caught if you're not, right? Because there's too much technology. There's too much. People can find out too much on the internet. They can find too much on social media. They can find too much on podcasts. They don't. You're not going to be pulling too much wool over too many eyes in today's world, I don't think.
I just want to say one thing before we get off here, and
Yeah.
you'll like this. It's cheesy. Everyone's been saying it for probably back when you first started selling. I always tell people and remind people it's not about the product that you're getting. I mean, yes, of course it is. It's that stuff, right? The stuff that they're getting. But I always remind people, not only do you get your stuff, you get Shannon. And
Exactly.
when you get Shannon, Randy, I don't think there's ever been a time that I've sent you a text and or called you, and within minutes and or seconds, if it has, you give me a reason why, and then you always get back to me. And I love that, because that's the way that I operate. And at the end of the day, people truly appreciate that, because way more times than I like to admit, others don't operate that way.
Right.
And if you have all that other stuff, but Shannon answers his phone,
Exactly.
and Shannon gets you those answers, Shannon's making a friend, and he'll think about that friend, whether he has other people's stuff or not, and he's going to come back to Shannon.
Right on. So be Shannon.
Be Shannon.
And I just love that, because I did a talk somewhere once, and I am Wham. I do what I do. But I said, I got an announcement to make. There's about 8.5 billion people on planet Earth, and I am number one. Number one. And they all looking at me like, what? At being me, right?
Mhm.
Nobody can touch me, right? Nobody can touch you being Shannon. Nobody can touch Wes being Wes. So that's the superpower, right?
Hey.
That is the force multiplier right there, is to take the stuff, and it better be good, because we're blessed. I'm blessed to represent some great manufacturers. You're blessed to be the great manufacturer. It has to start there, because you and I could not do what we do, no matter how good we are. Back to the stuff. But if our stuff sucked, right? I mean, it's a pretty technical term, right?
Yeah.
But we're going to have to do nothing then other than either figure out another place to be, figure out how to help them not suck so bad, or just decide that I'm going to be a Me Too price guy, because that's all I got, right? If I don't have all the rest of the stuff. So that's important. But man, you combine having the quality product, the quality service, the caring from top to bottom about doing it right, and then you combine that with the superpower of being Shannon Large, that becomes unbeatable, right?
Hey, you just got to be large and in charge.
Large. Oh, there it is. There it is.
I got you again.
Oh man, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. My day is made now. I'm going to go have a Dr. Pepper on that one.
There you go.
So, all right,
Randy, Randy, I appreciate you.
Closing words? No, you can't, because I appreciate you more. So it's my show. I get to appreciate you more.
Can't wait till the next time, or I guess probably we're having open house April me look at my calendar.
I'll write this down. In Atlanta?
Peachtree. Yep, outside of
Or,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Yep, Wednesday and Thursday, April 22nd and 23rd.
Oh, shoot. I'd love to go. I have I'm off that week. We have family coming down. Or
Are you? Okay.
I'd love to come up. It's not that far. I could actually almost drive up there, but because you're not that far from the airport, really. I mean,
No,
hour and a half.
40 minutes.
Oh, is that all? Okay.
Yeah.
I got Wes and I have a mutual friend. It's been on the podcast a few times. Mark Gasser lives in Peachtree Corners, which might be different than Peachtree Center or Peachtree.
Yeah, there's a Peachtree downtown Atlanta.
And he lives out someplace up northeast of town, someplace up in there. But anyways, you got to go. I got to go. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your professionalism, your support, you just everything you do, buddy. Keep doing it, man.
Hey, you rock. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Let's do it. All right, talk soon. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, there you go, friends. My friend of the industry, my friend, period. Just a great guy. I'm going to tell you right now, Shannon at Large. If you don't find this guy inspiring and you don't love the guy, you go check your blood pressure or something, because the guy is the real deal. And what you just saw there, know Shannon for a couple, 3 years now. Who you saw here is exactly who he is. That was zero. My BS detector was always on, and there was none there. So that's the real deal. So just another day of loving what we do, doing what we love. Remember, you only get one go around, so live it, love it, own it. And as always, go make today the best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.